There is this heated debate on the internet between people that love analog gear and people that absolutely hate it and think you just need plugins to get the same results. And people that buy analog are just snobs that would like to show off. And this time I would like to show you how I would approach my analog mixing and why I love it so much. And it's because I like the way that I can work in terms of like haptic controls that I have. And it's also the way that I have to focus on the actual material. So let's get over to my DAW session, put on some nice headphones, no pun intended, and let's take a look. Alright, so for this demo I created a basic house groove that is just giving me all the elements that I want you to focus on when listening to the A-B comparison. So I have a really snappy kick and a clap sound and a bass pattern that is quite minimal, and these floating pads and also these percussions with some interesting reverb in the background. And this is quite interesting to focus on when you're comparing the A-B stuff, because you're actually hearing how the outboard gear is interacting with the sounds. So this is now the sound or the groove without any modifications, without any outboard gear. So let's listen to the sound with the outboard gear. Okay, now let's disengage the outboard gear again and put it back in. This is quite a drastic difference for me, because if you listen to that boxy, no definition, no real bass, and the high end is muddy and there's nothing really spectacular. But once I engage the signal flow or the signal chain, I get more wideness, I get a bit more groovy feeling, and everything is quite together. So I put it back out of the signal flow. So let's talk about what I did here. So I have the SPL Hermes, and that is a mastering router. So I can engage and disengage different outboard gear stuff and then put it into a different order. So it's sort of like a insert matrix, so to speak. So I have two units right now in this chain. The first one is the custom audio HDE 250A, which is this one unit here. And the great thing is that I can engage it and I see that I have the HDE 250A in this place. So that is really cool because I can name the units that I've connected to the Hermes. And the second one is such a lovely tool. It's the Phoenix valve compressor from Thermionic Culture, and that is number 2. So once I engage the button, you see the VU meters are running. So I put them into a serial mode, meaning first the HDE, second the Phoenix. And because the Phoenix has some interesting stuff, because the output trim, as you can see, only has positive values, meaning I can't decrease the volume if I drive it too much because of the very mute design. You can see I've put them to around 7, so which is quite a lot input gain, and I wanted to do that because I wanted to really drive the valves in this scenario for this groove, because they are reacting quite interestingly to the groove. What I did because of that is I have the 2 processors, parallel mix processors of the Hermes engaged. And what these do is that I am able to not only put them into a dry and a wet position, so let's engage them and listen to that. So yeah, quite nice. So let's do that with the Hermes because it's quite drastic. I can put a dry amount. I can blend between the wet signal and the dry signal. So this is quite drastic. And the other great thing is that I have the ability to gain the unit or the signal chain once the hardware is inserted. And that gives me the ability to, for example, if I have the Phoenix that is having just positive output trim, I can put them here and I can decrease the output volume. So I have the unity gain because I don't want to fool you, because if the signal is 4 dB louder, then it's just like massive and everyone is saying, oh yeah, that's the best sound ever. But actually what you're just hearing is a louder signal. So I try to be as close to the original as possible in terms of the gain. So even though it's quite loud, it's not too much. So that's it for the overall signal chain. Oh yeah, one thing which is also quite cool is that we are able to drive into the compressor with the gain control. So I have the gain control here, and now watch closely what is happening to the VU meters once I increase the gain. Of course, everything is getting louder, but this is because I'm not just putting more gain into that, it's also that I'm driving the compressor more. So that's quite a neat feature. So let's put it back out. Let's check if I'm correct. So yeah, that's the way it works. So these are in serial order and I can work with them. So let's listen back to the signal without. So you hear it's quite boring. It's nothing spectacular. Put it back in. And it's just lovely. So what I did is I have the Custom Audio Germany HDE 250A in a MS configuration, meaning the left side is just taking care of all the mono signals and the right hand side is taking care of all the stereo information. And because I have also output controls, I can increase or decrease the stereo information and the mono information. So if you listen closely, you hear that because I've increased the side information that the sound gets wider. And now back in. Oh, sorry, that was a Phoenix. So let's go back to the HDE and put the HDE back in. It gets wider and it doesn't have these boxy sounds, and I just increased the bass also. So if you listen to that, there's quite a boxy sound around 700 and 800 hertz, and I decreased that. I cut that signal out with the HDE. So here is the mono signal, and I just cut it out. So put it back in. So now this boxy sound is back in. It's quite unpleasant. It's masking some of the sounds. So I put it out. And now we have a very controlled groove. Really nice. I also increased the bass, and the Custom Audio Germany is so amazing for bass because it's quite a precise but also silky smooth sounding EQ. So with the bass band and without. bass is gone. But even though I've added like 5 dB to the bass frequencies, it's not sounding unnatural. It's still there and has that quite interesting characteristics, and I just enjoy that. So that's it really. Oh, and also I engaged the transformers. So the input transformer and the output transformer. The input transformer is giving sort of like a pillowy sound, less attack and less transients, and that is because the Phoenix, on the other hand, is quite punchy, and I wanted to have this balance between the HDE and the Phoenix. So let's listen to both transformers. Yeah, that's quite good. Yeah, and then on the other hand, I have the Phoenix valve compressor, which is just beautiful for having character and color on the groove. So let's hear without. You hear the kick drum is losing definition. The shakers are not really into the groove, and also the rooms is sounding a bit flat. Put that back in, and now everything is very tied together. And that is because the very Mu design is a very slow design, so I'm not losing a lot of the transients, and I use the sounds that you can hear what is actually happening to the sound. Another great thing is that despite the perception of what valves are doing, in this scenario, the Phoenix is actually quite silky and hi-fi sounding. It's not adding a lot of mids, but it's actually just compressing the bass really nicely. I'm losing a little bit of bass and some highs, but in a very pleasant way. So instead of like having this overbearing sound, I get back a really nice compressed signal. So let's listen to that. Yeah, lovely. And now everything without both the custom audio and the Phoenix. And back in. Absolutely lovely. And that is the magic of analog gear, for me at least, because it's sounding very natural and you have a really organic sounding processing. Love that. Okay, I hope this presentation gave you a better understanding on why I like analog gear. And it's nothing because I just like it because it sounds necessarily better. It sounds different, and to my ears, It sounds more organic in certain situations and more musical. That doesn't mean that you can't get the same results in the box. I just prefer to work in this analog way, and that's how I work. And if you are fine with your way, that's perfectly fine. So thanks for watching, and if you have questions, write them down in the comment section below. See you next time.